My name's Lori McGuire. I'm sure most of you know of my son, or knew my son, Michael Bubba McGuire. I am here today to talk to you about the tragedy that has happened to our family and this community as well. Bubba was an 18 years young senior here at Plum High School, 2 weeks to the day of his high school graduation day on May 13th, 2009. His life was taken due to an accident in Lower Borough that could have been and should have been prevented. He and two others were thrown from the back of a pickup truck. They say that he died instantly due to the massive injuries to his head and his chest. He was on the way back to his car to come home. From where he laid on the road to where his car was, it was exactly 1 mile. That night was a night that no parent ever wants to live through. I had just got home from work around 10 o'clock. Mike, Bubba's dad, got home around the same time from fishing. I turned on the news and they came on with breaking news in Lower Borough. That there was an accident involving 6 teenagers. I sat there thinking, Bubba should be home by now, so I started calling his phone over and over again. No answer. I proceeded to call his friends' phones with no answer again. At this time, breaking news came back on again saying that there was a fatality in the accident. Well, then we went into overdrive with fear. After so many phone calls, finally one of the boys' mothers answered the phone and said that yes, her son was in the accident. At that point, we knew that Bubba was with them because they were always together. Not knowing what to do, we just got in the car and started down the parkway, heading to whatever hospital that we were told that he might have been flown to. After a wild goose chase, we were at Allegheny General, where a Plum police officer called my husband's phone and told us we needed to get home to talk to them. At that point, we knew that a beautiful, great-spirited young man had been taken from us. After the confirmation of his death, it was now, how do we tell his sister that her best friend in the whole world will never be coming home? As the evening progressed into early morning hours, people continued to come to our home in shock and disbelief, just wanting to know what they can do. There was nothing that anybody could do. All his friends were gathering up at the O-Block Junior High to console each other, just to be together, because nobody knew what to do. The next morning we turned on the TV and it was all over the news. Plum High School student killed in Lower Borough. They had a spokesperson talking, counselors on hand. I'm sure most of you remember that day, May 14th, walking through the halls of low attendance, tears, disbelief, and sadness. I remember that morning when Officer Cost, who has been a longtime friend of mine, and Mrs. Kinsler pulled up in front of the house to express their condolences and let us know that the school is doing everything that they can to help the students get through this. We were very grateful. Now it was time to do make the awful decisions. Those awful decisions included, what casket do we get? What color? What cemetery? How many viewings? What clothes do we put on them? Nervous going into that room and seeing Bubba still, not smiling, not cracking a joke, not trying to make someone laugh. How do we do this? Well, we did, and so did hundreds of you. He had touched so many people. He had friends, teachers, family, myself and my husband's work colleagues. We were overwhelmed with the support and the love from everyone. As a year has passed since his death, I look back at the influence that he's had on everyone's life, the beautiful things that people have said about him and written about him. He was someone special, as each and every one of you are. As we are heading into prom time, everyone is excited and feels free with no rules for a night. All I ask of you is to think and make good decisions. Bubba always thought nothing like this would ever happen to him. Well, I just told you the story, and it did. Nobody is invincible. It can happen to you. And just pray that not just now, that any time that you need to make a decision that can be harmful to you or someone that you love, you will stop and think. I remember that kid Bubba dying his senior year of high school, and stop and think twice about what you're doing. Bubba called me 1 hour before the accident, before he died. And the funny part of it is he called to ask me to skip school. So I said to him, we'll talk about it when you get home. And at the end of the conversation, he said to me, I love you, Mommy. Those were the last words that my baby Bubba ever spoke to me. I cherish that he was never afraid to express his feelings to anyone. I hope that all of you never live with regret and tell the people that are important to you just what they mean to you and the love you have for them. I know I'm starting to repeat myself, but every time Bubba and Devin would leave the house, I would always say to them, I love you, be safe. And Bubba always turned around and looked back at me with that silly grin he had, and he'd say, always, love you too, Mom. I want to let all of you know that there was no alcohol or drugs in any of the teenagers involved. They were all tested. It was that one bad decision made on May 13th by Bubba and the driver of the vehicle that ended a life that was so precious, and I know that would have been phenomenal. Don't ever worry about what people think or what people say. You follow your heart and always make good decisions, safe decisions. On my final note, the last gift that we bought for my son wasn't a hoodie and it wasn't an iPod. It was a headstone. Don't let that be your final gift. Life is precious. Treat it that way, because tomorrow is not promised, and all we have left is memories.